Are you afraid of the future? No, because you are well prepared? Or because you don't even care? Is it a yes? Because there's a possibility that you will need to work until you're old and nothing is left on your hard-earned money. A pleasant morning to all. Before we formally start our presentation, let me introduce first our group. I am Amina Kayumitig, together with my group mates Geraldine May Bueno, Precious Joy La Peña, Crystal May Esguera, and Neil Patrick Sia. And today, we will be discussing about investment.
Definition of investing and investment. Investing is the process of buying assets that increase in value over time and provide returns in the form of income payments or capital gains. In a larger sense, investing can also be about spending time or money to improve your own life. But in the world of finance, investing is the purchase of securities, real estate, and other items in the pursuit of capital gains or income. So, ang investing ay ang proseso ng paglalagay natin ng ating mga ari-arian sa isang selected investment vehicle. And the purpose of investing is for maximizing of wealth para dumami ang ating pera in the future, and investing is a long-term commitment. Investment. An investment is an asset or item acquired with the goal of generating income or appreciation. When an individual purchases a good as an investment, the intent is not to consume the good, but rather to use it in the future to create wealth. Investments are the assets often applied to stocks, bonds, and other financial instruments. Difference of investing from investment. Investing. Investing is the process of placing funds in a selected investment vehicles with the expectation of generating positive income and preserving or increasing their value. The most effective way is to build your personal wealth and secure your financial future. It is a long-term process by committing a portion of earnings to a share with the expectation of receiving a return. It is a process of using your money with the aim of making it grow, while investment is the commitment of funds to one or more assets that will held over some period of time in the future. It is concerned with the management of an investor's wealth, which is sum of the current income and the present value of the future income. So the main difference of investing and investment is investing ay ang proseso, while investment naman is the outcome or the management of investors' wealth.
Real investment is money that is invested in tangible and productive assets such as machinery and plant, as opposed to investment in securities or other financial instruments. Real investments, on the other hand, means creation of additional productive capacity. For example, the establishment of a factory or a workshop is a real investment. This creates additional productive capacity, and hence, it is an important activity for the economy as a whole. So, it is the sense that use the term of investment in the national income analysis. In the sense of it, when an individual purchases shares, bonds, or securities of a new company, this means the financial investment will represent real investments. The next one is the financial investments. This is the purchase of stocks and shares, debentures, government bonds, and equities. Is a financial investment. It is referred to as a financial investment because it does not involve anything more than a mere transfer of titles of ownership from one individual to other stock of economies. Real capital is left unchanged. Money market investment, it is a type of mutual fund that invests in high quality, short-term debt, instruments, cash, and cash equivalents. Though this is not quite as safe as cash, money market funds are considered extremely low risk on the investment spectrum. Capital market investment, it is our savings and investments are channeled between suppliers, people, or institutions with capital to lend or invest in those in need. For example, a firm needs money for business operations and usually borrows it from households or individuals. In the capital market, the money from individual investors or households is invested in firms of shares or bonds. In return, investors gain profits as well as goods and services. Safety of principal, it is a small step of risk scale from capital preservation, resulting in a big investments in secure debt securities with extended time horizons. So long-term debt securities, as you may know, have more price volatility. Most investors with this big goal are looking for investments that will produce consistent income over time. So the overall investment goal of older investors in retirement is most likely to be capital preservation. Adequate liquidity of investment and collateral value. This means that one's investment is protected. Protected means secured. It should be able to be sold for cash or borrowed for the entire value without any problems. It could be used as collateral in the event of an emergency. Stocks and bonds are financial instruments, so real estate assets are less liquid than liquid investments. Stability of income or regular income stream. So this means that the general public can invest. It may look for their investments as a source of additional cash flow, particularly if it is because from the income of freedom is also important to the investors, because this investment should have it should be a steady income. The majority of investors can expect a consistent return on their investment, so it may be deemed acceptable. Purchasing power stability. This is the prices tend to rise in lockstep with the increases in government spending. It ensures the purchasing power of money remains stable. Domestic inflation puts upward pressure on demand for imports. So while growing domestic products, production costs, it inhibits export expansion. So what happens when purchasing power stability increases? Well, inflation reduces the value of a currency's purchasing power, having the effect of an increase in prices. To measure a purchasing power in the traditional economic, you would compare the price of a good and the services against a price index, such as the Consumer Price Index or the CPI. Adequacy of income after taxes. It says that taxes must generate the sufficient money to cover society's basic necessities. If a tax system delivers enough income to meet demand for public services, if revenue growth each year is sufficient to pay the growth in service costs, and if there is enough economic activity of the type of being tasked to keep rates reasonable, it passes the sufficiency test. Possible capital appreciation. These are solid choice for investors prepared to take a few more risks in exchange for the possibility of higher than average market returns. They usually appeal to risk-taking investors. It means all the investments methods widely vary by fund type. Most funds invest largely in a mix of revenue and aggressive growth equities. These funds invest for both long-term and short-term returns with growth stocks funds because they often invest from a broad market stock universe. These funds can be a good options for modern investors seeking equity in market allocations. They can also give constant equity market exposure with sustainable capital growth over time. As a result, for a moderate to aggressive percentage of an investing portfolio, they can be a good long-term core holding. Freedom from care. It implies that an investment requires ongoing expertise at most oversight of the investor to minimize losses and gains in a higher return. Dedication is essential too. Why? Because when the investor is not the one who manages the investment, it enlists the help of a trust company counselor or a management. Legality. Legality, when evaluating the definition and the presence of investment, the legality requirement has been taken into account. Why? Because illegally acquired assets are not regarded investments. And this method can be rejected by other tribunals.
Habit of investing. Invest regularly. Regular investments increase the value, power of an individual, especially when the share of price is safe. Invest for the long term. Short-term investments are volatile while long-term investments do. Invest a good quality company. GMF principle is applied. G. Growing industry. in earnings growth and market reliability, and superior product service. Diversity. The portfolio of value assets that earn the highest return of the least risk. A diverse portfolio is your best defense against a financial crisis.
Diversification is a technique of allocating portfolio resources or capital to a mix of different investments. The ultimate goal of diversification is to reduce the volatility of the portfolio by offsetting losses in one asset class with gains in another asset of class. Ang diversification ay ang paglagay ng pera mo sa iba't ibang investment para kung sakaling malugi ang isa, safe pa rin dahil posibleng kumita ka pa rin sa iba. How diversification works. One key to diversification is owning investments that perform differently in similar markets. When stock prices are rising, for example, bond yields are generally falling. Professionals would say stocks and bonds are negatively correlated. Even at the rare moments when stock prices and bond yields move in the same direction, both gaining or both losing, stocks typically have much greater volatility, which is to say they gain or lose much more than bonds. While not each and every investment in a well-diversified portfolio will be negatively correlated, the goal of diversification is to buy assets that do not move in lockstep with one another. Ang diversification ay isang diskarte sa pamamahala ng panganib na pinaghalo ang malawak na uri ng pamumuhunan sa loob ng isang portfolio. Ang katwiran sa likod ng diskarteng ito ay ang isang portfolio na binuo ng iba't ibang uri ng mga asset. Sa karaniwan, ay magbubunga ng mas mataas na pagmatagalang pagbabalik at babaan ang panganib ng anumang individual na hawak o seguridad. These are the ways to diversify. The first is to spread the wealth. Equities can be wonderful, but don't pool all of your money in one stock or one sector. Consider creating your own virtual mutual fund by investing in a handful of companies you know, trust, and even use in your day-to-day life. Second is to consider index or bond funds. Investing in securities that track various indexes makes a wonderful long-term diversification investments for your portfolio. By adding some fixed income solutions, you are further hedging your portfolio against market volatility and uncertainty. These funds try to match the performance of broad indexes, so rather than investing in a specific sector, they try to reflect the bond market's value. The third is to keep building your portfolio. The idea behind this strategy is to cut down your investment risk by investing the same amount of money over a period of time. Fourth is to know when to get out. Stay current with your investment or investments and stay abreast of any changes in overall market conditions. You'll want to know what is happening to the companies you invest in. By doing so, you'll also be able to tell what or when it's time to cut your losses, sell, and move on to your next investment. Last is to keep a watchful eye on commissions. Some firms charge a monthly fee, while others charge transactional fees. These can definitely add up and chip away at your bottom line. Be aware of what you are paying and what you are getting for it. Remember, the cheapest choice is not always the best. Keep yourself updated on whether there are any changes to your fees. Kaya dapat laging mag-ingat dahil ang tamang diversification strategy ay mag-invest sa iba't ibang assets na hindi related sa isa't isa. Sa ganitong paraan, bumagsak, mabutas, o manakong man ang isa nang hindi mo inaasahan, buo pa rin ang isa o ang iba.
Difference between saving and investment. Saving means putting money aside gradually, typically into a bank account you don't spend now for emergencies or for purchase. While investing means using some of your money with the aim of helping make it grow by buying assets that might increase in value like stocks, property, or shares in a mutual fund. The purpose of saving is that with saving account, you have access to your funds either immediately or within an agreed time frame in case you need to withdraw the money for a specific purpose. While investing, longer way to access invested funds. When you invest your money, it can take few more days to access your money. Yes, mas matagal talaga sa investing, pero always remember, the longer you invest for, the higher is the probability of earning profits. The saving is for short-term goals, typically for smaller short-term goals in the near future, like saving for a large purchase or for an emergency, while investing usually used for long-term goals such as paying your child education or planning for retirement. A savings account is a short-term to medium-term goal saving option with low risk because your capital stays in the account and slowly earns interest, while in investing does not guarantee a return and it is possible to lose some or all of the funds you invested. Savings earn interest by putting money into a savings account, but it earns a lower return, while in investing, earnings potential because it typically have the potential for higher return than a savings account. So, ayun nga, mas mababa ang nakukuha mong interest sa savings and mas mataas sa investing. A savings account allows you to access this money at any time without any risk or loss. People often start saving money for a variety of reasons like vacation trips, medical emergencies, big purchases, and tuitions. While investing, it is the act of buying assets like stocks, mutual funds, bonds, property, or real estate, and other kinds of investment tools that the money will grow. Financial security refers to the peace of mind felt when we aren't worried about money. Often, this means having enough income to comfortably cover expenses and being debt-free and having savings to cover emergencies, meaning you are in control of your money and you're not worried about paying bills. If you want to master your finances, here are 10 tips to help you learn how to achieve financial security. Number 1, evaluate your situation. You need to gain some clarity by taking inventory on how much do you make and how much do you have in savings and investments. Live below your means. This means that you are always spend less than you make, and make sure that you always know the difference between your need and your wants. Create financial goals. Work out how much money you need to achieve each of your goals. Make a financial security plan. You need to create a financial security plan for each of your top priority goals. Reduce your expenses. You may need to cut back on small luxury items or large expenses. Pay off debt. Save, and save some more. Consider using 50-30 rule. 50 on your needs, 40% on your wants, and 20% on your savings. Earn more money. Another way to increase your financial security is to find ways to earn more money. Invest in diversified portfolio. Make sure you don't pull all your eggs in one basket. Instead, spread your money across multiple investments to create diversified portfolio. And lastly, be consistent. Consistency is the name of the game. You need to focus on building sustainable habits. Being financially independent means that you could retire early and continue living your current life without ever having to work again. In order to be financially independent, you must build multiple streams of income. This allows you to continue earning income regardless of what you choose to do day to day. Here are some ways to become financially independent. Break the paycheck to paycheck cycle. Review what you're spending money on each month. Reducing expenses helps free up cash to pay off debts, save, and invest. Leave your egg in the nest. Make your money work for you. If you've broken the paycheck to paycheck cycle and you've built a small nest egg, consider adding investments to your financial plan. In short, these habits can help you spend wisely and save with a purpose. So make financial independence an ongoing priority. Financial freedom. Financial freedom usually means having enough savings, financial investments, and cash on hand to afford the kind of life we desire for ourselves and for our families. It means growing savings that enable us to retire or pursue the career we want without being driven by earning a set of salary each year. Financial freedom means our money is working for us rather than the way around. Here are also some ways to reach financial freedom. Build your income. Many people become wealthy because they save and invest money consistently throughout their lives. Get out of debt by avoiding more debt. If you can't afford an item or a service without a credit card and it's not an emergency, don't buy it. Build your savings and emergency fund. It is helpful in case one of your sources of income falls through and your total income isn't enough to fund your household's expenses. Begin to invest. Ideally, you should be diversifying your investment portfolio because diving into different types of investments can help offset the losses in case one of your investments fall through. Grow your investments past your income. When you don't need to work for money anymore, you'll know you've made it to financial freedom. So, that ends our presentation